Hey guys, I'm Esther from ESSYCOOKS, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this amazing gnocchi puttanesca. Yum, look at that. This actually comes together in about 15 minutes and it is the perfect date night dinner. It's the perfect dinner to serve to your guests. If you have any olive lovers in the house, this is absolutely amazing. So this was actually called the pasta of the lady of the night at one point because they said this came from a brothel. They needed something really fast, easy, and delicious to put together in between clients. So there's another story that says a chef had a bunch of people come in late night and he had nothing left in the kitchen, so he put together this dish. So for whichever reason, it doesn't matter. This is an absolutely amazing dish and I'm super excited to show you guys how to make this amazing puttanesca sauce with gnocchi. Okay, let's get started with the ingredients. So I've got a 1/3 cup of pitted Kalamata olives. I'm personally wanting to slice them in half, but you don't have to. You can put them in whole, which would make the pasta sauce even faster and easier because you don't have to do any chopping. But I like to get a little bite of olive with most bites, so I just find cutting them in half gives me just a little bit more olive. You do want sort of big pieces of olive in there, so I wouldn't recommend dicing them up. Just cut them in half if you are going to cut them. Then we've got a 28-ounce can of Italian tomatoes. So you want to look for some good quality Italian tomatoes. If you can find San Marzano tomatoes, that is perfect. And I like to use the whole tomatoes. Next, we have 2 to 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Again, because we're only using a few simple ingredients, you want to make sure you have good quality extra virgin olive oil. Now, making this a little healthier, you can put just like 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil, but honestly, I'm telling you, one of the secrets to delicious Italian cooking is using a lot of olive oil. So I would recommend adding more. Then we've got 3 cloves of minced garlic. We're just going to put that pan on medium heat, and just for about 30 seconds, we are going to cook the garlic just to get that all infused in the oil, which garlic and olive oil, yum, so delicious. The best start to any recipe in my opinion. Then we're going to add some hot chili flakes to taste. So you can start with 1 teaspoon. Depending on your preference, I mean, I like to put like 1.5 tablespoons because I like this to have a little bit of kick. But if you can't tolerate spice, don't worry, you can add less hot chili flakes in there. And then just for about 20 seconds or so, we're just going to cook those hot chilies in with the garlic oil here. Next, we're going to add in the tomatoes. Now, I like adding in whole tomatoes that are peeled. We don't want the peels because they're not really going to add anything to the recipe. They're hard to chew. They're just not ideal. So I do recommend getting whole peeled Italian tomatoes. Now, what you can do is you can actually kind of crush these up by hand a little bit, or you can buy crushed tomatoes. I mean, I think the whole tomatoes are personally better because what I want to do is have a few chunks of tomato in the mixture. That's kind of one of the features of this sauce. So I'm just going to use the back of my wooden spoon and just gently press down on those. As they cook, they kind of fall apart on their own anyway, but I like to have little pieces just like about that size for texture in this sauce. So you do want that. So that is why I recommend using the whole tomatoes for this recipe, but if you can't find them and you can just find crushed, that would be okay. But like, you do want the chunks in this, so if you can find those whole peeled Italian tomatoes, that is perfect. Next up, we've got 2 tablespoons of fresh herbs. So I have thyme here, so I'm going to be using that. This recipe is also amazing with oregano if you have that instead. So I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of fresh thyme. Parsley works in this recipe too. Basil works in this recipe. I am going to be putting some fresh basil on top, which really takes it up a level as well. So I'm just going to give those a little mix in, and then I'm going to add in my capers. So you don't want to skip this step. You need 2 tablespoons of capers. So you can just get those in a jar. They're usually in the pickled section or something like that. Now we have our 1/3 cup of the Kalamata olives. So you need the capers and the olives to add flavor to this sauce. Those are kind of the main event in it. Now, some people make puttanesca sauce with anchovies, but it's not necessary, and we're making a vegan version, so we're going to be skipping that. Now, by adding the capers and the Kalamata olives, we are going to get a lot of salt content in there anyways without adding the anchovies. So you're not going to be really missing anything in this recipe, in my personal opinion. So we're going to mix in those capers and those olives really nicely into the sauce. And we've got the sauce still on medium heat here because we are going to need to simmer it down, but it doesn't need to cook for very long. That's the thing. And that's why you want to pick out, you know, good quality tomatoes and olive oil, because you are going to be tasting those ingredients because there's so few ingredients in this sauce. So we have a nice simmer going there. We're going to let that sauce simmer for about 7-8 minutes, and we're going to cook our gnocchi while that is simmering. So we've got about 500 grams of gnocchi here that we are going to cook up. Usually those only take like 2 minutes to cook until they float to the surface, then you know they're ready. So that took 2 minutes, and my sauce has been simmering for 7. So you just want to time that so that it works out for you. And then I'm just going to start folding the gnocchi into the Puttanesca sauce. So this is where the magic happens. I am so excited for this. As you can see, this is a very saucy recipe. So if you're somebody who loves olives and somebody who loves sauce, you are going to absolutely love this recipe. It is so flavorful, and I am so excited for you guys to try it. So I'm just going to keep mixing those in. Now I usually pull the gnocchi out at 2 minutes instead of 3 because it is going to cook in the sauce for another minute, and I don't want to overcook them. So just be careful with that as well. Now this puttanesca sauce actually goes amazing with spaghetti too. So same thing, you can cook up like a box of spaghetti and you can add that into the puttanesca sauce, which is absolutely amazing. If you are going to add pasta in, I recommend taking a little scoop of the pasta water and just adding that into the mix as well. So you can see that has been cooking for a minute now. We've stirred it in, and that is all ready. So of course, next up, I'm going to top it with my fresh herbs. I absolutely love topping this with some fresh basil leaves because anytime there's a tomato sauce, I think basil leaves just go so beautifully with it. But personal preference, whatever you like to top it with. You can put some fresh Parmesan cheese on top, whatever you like. So I'm just going to add my fresh basil leaves there. Now this is best served right away, just fresh, hot out of the pan. However, you can store it for leftovers. So this amount will serve 4 people, and you can keep it in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. Of course, I recommend eating it right away fresh, but it does make very delicious leftovers too. I know when I have a delicious pasta in the fridge, if I've gone out to dinner or made it at home, sometimes I just like it so much that I want to eat the leftovers the next day for breakfast because I can't wait to enjoy them again. So there is that gnocchi. It's all cooked in, and that is ready to serve up. So I'm just going to grab 2 plates here, and I'm going to start dishing up this amazing dish. All right, and stay tuned for the taste test here, which is coming up very soon, and you can see how much of it my husband ate. I was trying to get him on camera to show us taste testing the recipe together, but I cannot stop him from eating it. You'll have to take a look at his plate and see how far it is gone down, and I think that's a really good sign. I think that's a sign that this is absolutely delicious. I am so excited for you guys to try that. Of course, I'm going to top that off with a fresh basil leaf, and like I said, you can add some Parmesan cheese on top if you like. And there it is. I cannot wait to take a bite of this delicious sauce. Ooh, yum. All right, so I am gonna bring in my date night taste tester here. Of course, this is served best with a glass of wine. Careful you don't spill that. Normally you would be sitting at the table, but cheers, salute. All right, let's give this a little taste test and let me know what you think. If you're an olive lover, honestly, this is for you.
So good.
It's so simple, but so delicious. I cannot wait to finish eating this. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video on how to make this delicious Italian dish. If you guys like this recipe and you want to see more videos like this one, just make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below.